Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. So, on this perfect Tuesday...
Why is it perfect?
Because the sum of the factors of 6, other than the number itself, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. And there's your math nerd fact for the day.
Okay.
Did you do the crossword?
I did.
And what did you think?
Well, the theme was a little cryptic, but I eventually got through the puzzle.
Good.
Without actually really solving the theme.
Oh.
I mean, I kind of figured out where they were going with it, but it was a little beyond me how it got there.
You didn't really need it though.
No, you didn't need it.
I mean, it didn't really help, except I suppose
In fact, I didn't use it to solve the problem.
But if you did know it, I mean, there was a pattern there that you could recognize.
Yeah, that's true.
And once you saw that, I mean, it did help confirm that your answers were correct.
That is true.
At least among those 6 squares.
Yes.
So since we're sort of beating about the bush here, why don't we plunge into the forest and you talk about the theme?
Okay. Well, there were a number of circled letters in the puzzle, and they all follow the same pattern. There were 4 squares going horizontally, circled, and then 2 below them, symmetrically positioned, right below the 2 middle of the 4 circles. So, if you solve the puzzle correctly, you would get COTT in the top 4 circles and CY in the bottom 2. And that was always the case. And this repeated 3 times. For example, 18 across, orange-colored fruit pastry was apricot tart. And the COT from apricot and the T of tart were circled. And then under that, 21 across was mistake in logical reasoning. And that was fallacy. And the CY at the end of that word were in the 2 circled squares below. Okay, so that happened 3 times. And the revealer clue helped you figure out what was going on there. And that was 62 across, carnival confection, or when reparsed, a hint to what appears 3 times in this puzzle. And the answer to that was cotton candy. And so if you look at the position of those letters in the circled squares, you had COTT at the top. So you had cot on CY at the bottom. C and Y together. C and Y, CANDY, spell candy. So you got cot on candy.
Yep.
So that was the theme.
It was clever.
Yes.
I had to really fight, though, to parse candy as C and Y.
Me too. That was my downfall, too. I was just like, how is that candy? It must be candy. But then I'm like, oh, C and Y.
Yes.
It's candy.
Very cute.
Yep.
And this was by Enrique Henestroza Anguiano.
Wow, that's quite a name.
Yes, and I'd like to apologize to Enrique for having mispronounced that. This is his 9th crossword, and he first published in 2020.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. There were some interesting answers to some of the clues there that I did not know. Like, for example, 30 across. The revolution will not be televised. Poet GIL SCOTT HERON. Never heard of GIL SCOTT HERON, but it was a good clue because it had cot in it, COTT.
Yes. Yeah.
But that was a new one on me. I wondered if that was a debut.
It was indeed.
Okay.
And I think he was around maybe in the 70s or something like that.
I'm going to have to look him up because just the name of the poem that they give as an example, the revolution will not be televised.
See, I've heard that phrase before.
Well, me too.
Because it's one of those phrases that when you hear it, you will not forget it, right?
Right.
So
I'll have to look that up. Yep. Yep.
We had some other great clues here, such as 5 across. 5 across was, it might be treated with a kiss and a Band-Aid, boo-boo.
That is correct.
But whenever I see boo-boo, I think about Yogi Bear.
Oh, yeah.
So just like, yes, my hero, boo-boo, is in the grid, but different kind of boo-boo.
Right.
Coming out of the last O of boo-boo, we had 10 down. Betting recklessly at the poker table on tilt.
Yes, I'd never heard that phrase.
That was a surprise.
Yeah.
It sounds like coming out of, I don't know, arcade games or something when you like
Right. Yes.
tilt
that's
the
what I thought
board
when
or something.
I saw that tilt there. Yep.
Have you ever had any 23 down snack cakes with swirls? Ho-hos?
Oh, you bet.
Oh, okay.
That was like a staple in my lunch growing up.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. How about now?
No, I haven't had one in many, many years.
You've given up on ho-hos?
But yeah, that was always, they were wrapped in foil, just aluminum foil. And yep, my mom would make my lunch and she'd throw one of those in for dessert.
I wonder if they ever have like a successor, the oh-ohs. You have the ho-hos and the oh-ohs.
I mean, yeah. So yep, I've had those. Boy, there were some other ones that, to me, were just a little like, I couldn't quite find the word. Like 36 across, head in the clouds, and it was, and it had dashes between the words there. So I thought, what does that mean? But anyway, it turned out the answer was spacey.
Yes.
Spacey, yes. So.
We had, 35 down, desired effect of a plumping gloss. And I had pompadour because, actually, I guess it's pronounced pompadour, but it doesn't really matter because it was totally wrong. But I just thought, I had the word plumping, and I had the idea of sort of like plumping up hair.
No, it's plumping of lips.
Yes, pouty lips was the correct answer.
Lips, yes.
I'm surprised that wasn't a debut.
Oh,
But
really?
it has appeared 2 times. Today, and then, of course, 20 years ago. So, not really too popular, the old pouty lips.
I'm surprised we've had plumper that long. But yes.
32 down. A spinner of silk was a spider.
Right. That was another one.
Yeah.
Like, what? A spinner of silk? Well, silkworm.
Right.
But they don't really spin silk. They just, create the cocoons that they make silk out of. But yeah, so that was another one that kind of threw me there.
So is that where like silk shirts come from? Spiders just working in unison?
Well, no. I mean, the silk that makes up the fabric is done by silkworms.
Okay.
But I guess a spider web is kind of like silky.
So if you didn't want to spend money on silkworms, you could just like go gather a bunch of spiders and hope you don't die of bites before you get your.
I mean, the spider webs, they're sort of sticky. I don't know how they would be if you tried to make that into cloth.
Yeah, sounds pretty disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, and 45 across, Michelangelo marble masterpiece. That's quite a phrase just to say, but it turned out to be David.
Yes.
I put Pieta right away. I just thought that was one of his crowning achievements. But so was David. His statue of David is very
I think he's more known for that, right? He's probably better known for David than Pieta.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Pieta is in the Vatican, or it's in the big church there in the Vatican, and so.
I just remember David as being in the gift shop.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where else.
No, David is quite impressive. When you first walk in and see him, that is a very impressive statue. But,
yes.
So anyway.
We had 44 down, OT high point, and I saw that and thought it was overtime.
Oh.
And so I was trying to figure out what's the overtime high point, but it was OT is an Old Testament high point, and the answer was Mount Sinai.
That's correct.
Very clever clue.
Yes. And And here's where you don't hear too often, 39 down, sudden surge, spate.
Yes.
A spate.
Yep.
Yes.
It works. We had 50 down, tank top, question mark, and I thought turret. And I was feeling very clever about that.
Why a turret?
Because a turret is the top of a tank.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh.
But turns out that's irrelevant. It was the wrong type of tank. It was a gas cap.
Yes.
So, let's see. We had bring to 212 degrees, 58 down, that was boil. That was pretty obvious.
Yes.
And one that was completely unobvious, disobvious, non-obvious, to me, 66 across, dad in Korean, appa.
Yes.
Although I can think of several languages in which dad starts with A.
Yeah, I was thinking India, like Hindi, or some of Indians call their fathers appa or apu.
I think in the Middle East it's ABBA.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that might be the band. That might be the rock band. But
No.
But ABA, not ABBA.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had 65 down, product of the Camellia sinensis plant, and that was tea.
Yes.
Did you know that?
No, but I had the T, and it was 3 letters long, and I'm like, it's got to be T. So, another one I did not know, 58 across, disposable coaster at a bar is called a beer mat. Did you know that?
No, that sounds like something much larger than a coaster. It sounds like it's covering vast swathes of the
Like a
of the table
mat.
there. Yeah.
But no, beer mat. So,
But
I didn't know they were called that.
all right. I think that is it for the crossword.
Okay.
But it is Tuesday,
That it is.
which means it's time for Triplet Tuesday.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
And for new listeners, first of all, welcome. Triplet Tuesday is that segment where one of us reads 3 clues to the answer. The answer to all 3 clues is one 3-letter answer, and the object is to guess that answer in as few clues as possible. We do it 3 times, hence the name Triplet Tuesday.
That is correct.
And I believe today you will be asking the questions, and I will be making a fool of myself, and I am ready to do so.
Okay. Here is your first clue.
Ready.
Nucleus.
Nucleus. Nucleus. Hub.
That is correct. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First I was going for gist and then core, and I'm like, no, 3 letters.
The second one was center of activity.
Hub. Guess that would have worked.
And the last one, airline's base of operations.
Ah.
I figured you'd get that, being a pilot and all.
I don't know. Hard to tell. After I already know it, it's hard to say what I wouldn't react to. So.
Okay, well, you're on a roll.
Yes. All right.
Okay, here's the second one.
I am ready.
Backstroke.
Backstroke. Backstroke rub.
That's correct. Whoa. Whoa, you really are on a roll. The second clue was spice mixture.
That would have been harder.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about that.
I probably wouldn't have gotten
Because
that.
that's usually used with meat.
It
like a
involves
rub.
food.
Yeah, and
so
you're vegetarian. So, okay, and then the third one was chafe. Chafe. If you chafe.
I might not have gotten that one either.
Whoa.
I think you led off with the easiest, at least from my perspective.
I thought that was the most cryptic, backstroke, because that could, be like a lap, like a swimming lap, or
Oh,
I was thinking backstroke.
Good idea.
No.
Wait, can I change my answer? Nope, too late.
Okay, all right. So here are your third set of clues.
Okay.
Album track.
Album track. Album track. That would be like a song, which is 4 letters. An album track. I wonder if this is some sort of a trick. Probably is. You're very devious that way. As you can tell, I'm stalling for time because right now I'm not able to find any 3-letter words in my vocabulary. Album track. Wow. LPs.
No. Okay, here's your next clue. Percentage.
Percentage. Whoa. That would be like a fraction, a portion. Those aren't 3 letters. Percentage? Tip.
Nope. Here's your last clue.
Okay.
Director's cry.
Cut.
Cut. Yeah, that's right. No. An album track is, it's called a cut. And then percentage, like is your cut of the pop. So,
wow, you
pulled that out at the end there.
You cranked up the difficulty there.
Well, no, maybe, but anyway, very good. You did very well.
1,
and 3.
1, and 3. Okay. All right. Well, great.
I tried to fool you because I had hub and rub.
Yes.
And I thought maybe you'd try to think of something with a UB, but I thought, nope, I'm going to do cut. So, anyway.
Yes.
But you still got all 3. Excellent job.
Yep. Thank you so much. And that is it for today.
Yep.
We'll be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.